watching us live.
You know what? It was in the wrong group. I just realized that. I had us live in the Plant Power Army.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so.
Okay, well, we'll start over.
Well, put it as number 16. It's number 16, not 15.
All right, I'll change it. All
Okay,
right.
we'll just start over.
So we are live again. All right, you guys. So I went live in the wrong group. But we are live and in person again in the InnerStrength tribe. And so we just did about 15 minutes of really great information that we're gonna go through all again. And this is why I need a producer, because apparently trying to do this on my own is just a little bit too much. So thank you for joining us, episode 16, which is what do you eat? So we get questions all the time. You know, I think that's the biggest thing is people are like, but what do you eat? Mm-hmm. So that is the question that we're going to answer today. And we're going to get really specific because I know there's lots of different facets to this, including, you know, how do you plan for the week? What do you have for actual meals? What do you have for snacks? What do you do when you go out? What if your family is eating differently? Mm-hmm. So thank you for joining us, and thank you to LT and to Joanne for joining me twice today as we get this going. So let's the first thing that we want to talk about is planning for the week. So we all three do this differently, and so I'm gonna start with LT. How do you plan out your week?
Yes, food? I use a meal delivery service, Green Chef, and I always get the vegan, gluten-free options. There's not as many options for vegan, gluten-free with that. There's lots more options the other way. So, but I've liked everything that I've gotten. And I also buy from the Plant Powered Chef, which is your new meal service. The Green Chef, you have to do a little bit of prep work, and it's about 30 minutes, whereas yours, you spoil us and we just stick it in the oven. And so, but I like having that. So I know what I'm going to have on the nights, and we normally go out to eat at least once or twice. And I use the leftovers for lunch, or, you know, my family's eating all of it. So sometimes there's no leftovers. It just depends on what we're having. And that's the easiest way for me, because I have said before that the kitchen is not my thing. I just got it in there and got it done. You know, I had to do it. Obviously, I'm a mother of 2 children. So, I mean, I did do it, but I never really loved it. I mean, you know, and we cooked a lot of casseroles, and I would have canned vegetables and rolls and things like that. And I'm just not doing that anymore. I'm doing fresh veggies, and I love to air fry, and I love to saute, and I love to roast and that type thing. So, and I'm always, even with your Plant Powered Chef and even with Green Chef, I'm always using some other veggies on the side that I air fry. And I love salad. So I normally have like a little salad with it too, just because I like it.
Yeah. So would you say you're doing a mixture of cooking and delivered meals?
I am. I'm doing a little bit of both. And I've found that when I do it that way, I'm not having to buy an awful lot in the grocery store. I'm just having to buy some staples that I like and some of the fresh things that I like. But a lot of these ingredients and the spices are already included. And, you know, I'm not buying meat. I'm not buying dairy. So I'm not even going to that section anymore. So, you know, I'm staying in that little produce area. Right. Where all the fresh stuff is. And I'm going to a regular grocery store, by the way. We have a Winn-Dixie that's very close to me. I'm not shopping at a high-end store.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. We have a Whole Foods here, but it's very inconvenient, and I never darken the doorstep. I mean, I can get everything I need at Walmart and Winn-Dixie.
Right. Same here. Mm-hmm. Like, I think people are always asking me, like, well, where do you shop? I'm like, we go to the Giant Eagle and my farm market across the street. Like, so it's, you know, people are kind of under the impression that it's like it was maybe 15 years ago. When I started this 15 years ago, you couldn't find anything in the regular grocery store. I had to go to the all natural, you know, food store, the health store, and to Whole Foods. Right. And so now everything is
and my little Winn-Dixie has a section right by the produce section that's all organic and vegan, and so I just kind of camp out right there. Yeah, and it's near the cash registers, and I'm in and out. I'm telling you, grocery shopping is not a big whoop.
Well, and you know, now not only is there also Trader Joe's, which a lot of people love Trader Joe's.
I know we don't have one. I wish we did.
We don't have one super close. And then there's a lot of people go to Costco because they have so many options now. And Aldi has a ton of vegan options now and gluten-free. So, I mean, there really just isn't, when it comes to grocery shopping, there's absolutely no excuse. I mean, it's just everywhere. But yeah, so we have started a new meal delivery service that's just available to my clients called the Plant Powered Chef. And I'll just plug that really quick because it's something people have been asking us to do for many, many years. And what's funny about it is I have never used a meal delivery service, and it's not something I'm interested in. So when people would ask us about this or say, oh, you should start a restaurant, your food's amazing, I would just kind of be like, yeah, and then just, kind of blow it off. But especially now with COVID, when so many more people are doing this kind of thing, because they're not eating out in restaurants as much, this has been so amazing for our clients, and the food is, they love the food and they love the convenience of it. So that is something that right now is only available to our clients, but has been going really great. So Joanne, I know that that's not the way you do things for the week. So how do you plan things out?
So I like to do batch cooking. And I generally go to the grocery store on a Friday late at night because of COVID, when nobody's there, and I can get in and get out. And I kind of do plan a little bit what we're going to have. And like you said about keeping your pantry stocked, I do keep most of the things. Like I keep everything in giant mason jars. So I have a lot of rice. I have a lot of lentils. I have a lot of quinoa. So those aren't things I'm having to buy every week. I'm just buying mostly vegetables, all my beans. I don't cook beans from dry. I do get them on the shelf. So, and then I just kind of plan out what we're going to have. I make a basic batch of grains to have ready. Maybe I'll make rice. Maybe I'll make quinoa. Maybe I'll, sometimes I batch cook oats to have that for breakfast. That's a good one to have. And then I usually make some kind of protein. Either I'll bake off some tofu, a couple blocks, or this week I sauteed some tofu. Or what I like to do is I get my beans in these little pouches, and I know LT with your Green Chef, that's the brand. What is it
Green
called again?
Valley. Green Valley.
Green Valley. So Green Valley has these pouches. It's the same equivalent to a can of beans. But you just literally rip off the top. And I think the packaging is probably biodegradable or something. But I drain and rinse a few cans of beans and put those in a container in the fridge so that every meal I'm not having to open and drain and rinse and get out the colander. I just have them already rinsed and they're ready to go. So if I want to throw them on top of a salad, or if I want to throw them on the side, or I like to make wilted greens a lot because that's really fast. And I'll just take a scoop of beans and throw it in the pan and warm them up. And then I roast up a bunch of veggies and I bake off my sweet potatoes, like 6 or 8 at a time.
And you do some different sauces too, so you can kind of mix things up during the week. Yeah.
Yep. I make, if I want to have it, like I make a lot of bowl type meals, like Buddha bowls or burrito bowls. I kind of fashion it after like a Chipotle sort of line.
Right.
So I either just throw some salsa on top, or I'll just make the Asian sauce in your book. I'll make that. I make it in a big mason jar, and I'll pour that on top, or I buy a couple of different sauces at Trader Joe's, and we'll just change up the meal depending on what sauce you put on it. So it's super easy.
Yeah, so many people, there's a lot of people out there like me, and I'll explain the way that I do things here in a second, who don't plan for anything. But there are so many people who really feel like batch cooking on the weekend or whatever that's how they keep on track, because otherwise they're just not going to do it. And so Joanne and I put our heads together. We came up with an amazing plant power meal guide that includes 5 weeks of batch cooking combinations. There's something like 30 different meals on there. There's 10 new recipes that you don't find anywhere else, that we haven't put out there, and it's not even in my book. And it's an amazing resource. And it also has 6 sample meal days, which is the way that it'll show you the way I do things. And that's available. If you already have my book, you can purchase that separately. It's a digital download, so you can get that on my website, or it's available for, free of charge to any of my clients. So that has been an amazing resource for a lot of people in our group. So the way that I do things and always have done things is just on the fly. I'm not too much of a planner. So I do keep a running list on my fridge. And what I've always done is taught women how to keep their kitchen stocked. I mean, that, because for me, that was always the key, is if I didn't have it, I was going to end up going out because I didn't want to mess with going to the store and all of this stuff. So I teach women how to keep their kitchen stocked. And just like we talked about, I mean, these grocery stores now, they just have everything you need. There's nothing special or weird that we're using. And even Amazon Pantry, some of the stuff that you can just get stuff right through Prime, and it's really inexpensive. And so there's grocery delivery services, or there's where you can check it off online and just go pick it up. So there's lots of ways to get this done. And so I teach women how to keep their kitchen stocked with basics. And then what I do is, on that running list that I keep when things get low, I also add, like there might be a couple of meals that I have in mind for the week. Like John and I are planning on having my tofu quiche this week, which is one of our favorites. I know I already have the frozen hash browns. I know that I already have frozen Brussels sprouts. And so I need tofu, and I know I already have hummus, because those are staples.
Yeah.
And so what I have to get is the fresh mushrooms, and make sure that I have fresh tofu, and then we're all set. And then we usually have a nice kale salad with that. So there's a couple things like that I will have in mind, and I'll put things on the list that I need. But other than that, I am really just walking into the kitchen. Usually, like it might occur to me about an hour before, like, what do I want, And so I am putting combinations together, and that's why I put out so many 15-minute meals, because that's the way that I live. I have an air fryer and a saute pan, and those are the things that I use the most. In an oven, and other than that, it's very simple. And I like to eat that way. And it's also a really healthy way to eat. So I'm putting a lot of just simple combinations together with, like, sweet potatoes. Like, I can bake a sweet potato while I'm doing other things, or while I'm off for a run. And then I like to put some toppings on that and have some veggies on the side. And that's just a delicious meal that I can mix up and do different things with all the time. I might add a little bit of leftovers to it from the day before that I've something I had or whatever. So, there's definitely no matter what type of person you are, whether you are like, I love meal delivery services, or I need to be planned out for the week with batch cooking, or you're like me, I like to just do it on the fly. You can definitely do this. It's totally doable no matter who you are. Tammy says, I love all days, and I love the plant-powered chef, the stuffed grape leaves and falafel and tofu nuggets. Loves Chef John's. I'll make sure I tell him that. That was our menu last week. And so we change the menu every week, and it's been really, really fun. And now we're offering a staples box with, like, seasonings and things like that. And we're even making plant-powered pet treats, because your pets want to be healthy too. And they are Piggy and McLovin approved. So, all right, so that's the planning part. So what about, actually, the thing that I get asked about almost more than anything else is breakfast. I mean, it's amazing. And really, when you think about it, though, it makes sense, because we all grew up just with these like lame, sugary breakfasts, right? So you have Pop-Tarts. Like, I grew up eating Pop-Tarts, toast, and tons of cereal. I mean, just tons of sugary cereal. I could put
Little Debbie's honey buns, things like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just, or people are going through a drive-through and getting like a muffin or whatever. So I get asked about breakfast all the time. So LT, what do you do for breakfast?
Well, normally I have a juice. I like to still make the juices, and I like that. And I also like protein balls. I found some. You can make them, but there's some at Walmart called Holy Rollies that I found. It had like 5 ingredients in it. Everything is vegan, gluten-free approved. And I like that peanut butter. So if I get 2 of those little protein balls and a juice, I'm good to go. I also like drinkable non-dairy yogurt, and Khalifa Farms makes a good one. They have strawberry and they have a mango. And sometimes that's all I want, is just a little something like that. If I'm going to have something bready, like if I'm going to have an English muffin, I'm going to have half of it. And I may toast it, a gluten-free English muffin with a little bit of natural peanut butter on the top. Or I'll have one of those protein waffles. But I don't do that all the time. That's just sometimes I need to do that. So mainly it's that drinkable yogurt and the juice and my little protein ball, because I just need a little something, you know?
Right. And you're talking about the homemade juices.
I'm talking about the homemade juices that
Yeah.
you juice, and you've got recipes in your book. And my favorite one is the super green pear and the liver loving beet.
Yeah. So, and I also, those are available through Plant Powered Shop as well, for people who don't want to juice or don't have a juicer. But it is such a, the reason I mention that is because those juices are so much more filling. Than it's not like buying a juice at the store and just drinking like a thing of apple juice or whatever. Like they actually do like satisfy you. So that's why she's saying like, she's adding a couple protein balls to that and she's good to go. So yeah, those are delicious. So what about you, Joanne? I know your breakfasts are the stuff of legends. So let's hear it.
Yeah, I like, I was on a real big sweet potato for breakfast kick for a long, long time, because that's just, I don't generally like sweet things in the morning, but the sweet potato is, sweet in a non-sweet sort of way. And then I top it with a scoop of beans and some salsa, or I like pineapple salsa. So I would do that for breakfast a lot. This morning, like I usually have leftover dinner for breakfast. So this morning I had a container of soup. Like I love soup for breakfast. And last night I made, a white bean soup. It's blended. It's the Giada De Laurentiis. I think we talked about her.
Yeah. So John has cooked with her.
Right. I remember you saying that.
John has cooked with her. He's cooked with a lot of famous chefs. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, she does a lot of things with white beans, and I love white beans. So she has this white bean and garlic soup, and it's super garlicky. And it's like 4 ingredients. There's sage, white beans, almond milk, and basically garlic, and that's it. And then you blend it with an immersion blender, and that's what I had for breakfast. So I'm thinking it's kind of like a smoothie, but I don't like smoothies for breakfast. So I do mostly leftovers for breakfast almost every day. And I try to get veggies in or greens. I really love eating greens first thing in the morning. And it might not seem like, you want to get out of bed and it's cold and you don't want to eat greens, but I warm them up. I wilt greens and I'll throw some beans in there with some garlic. And that's what I like to eat for breakfast.
So Joanne has started a revolution in our group with this whole savory breakfast situation. And so people are posting like, I had the massage kale salad for breakfast.
That's right. That's a good breakfast.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's crazy. And I have to say that it is not my thing because my thing is not breakfast, but people all over the group are absolutely loving it. And it is an amazing way to start your day when you don't start your day with sugar. That, I mean, to ground yourself first thing, whether it is with a fresh homemade juice, because those juices have both, fruits and vegetables in them. Or with something, really hearty and savory like that, you're setting yourself up for success in the day instead of starting your day off with this sugar spike, because we all know when you come down from that, what you want is more sugar.
Right.
So,
and that happens if I eat something like an English muffin with peanut butter or toast with peanut butter, it really does make me want that all day long. I'm not gonna lie. Like I just get on a binge of like, okay, what else can I eat that's like hearty and peanut buttery and
and carby.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what I've had the past 3 days. One of our group members is what I love. Little sweet Cindy posted about doing oatmeals in a jar. And so I did my apple pie oatmeal, overnight oats, and she had some salads too. And that's one thing that I love about the group is that we are all so different, and we come to the table with all these different ideas and we share them. And so you pick up all these little great tips and little recipes, and even just for like little breakfasts like that and little snacks that you find. And when we find something good, we can't wait to share it.
Right.
Oh, Yeah, so Cindy came to me and she's like, how would you feel about, like I want to share all these different, jar recipes for oatmeal and
Yeah.
overnight oats and salads. I'm like, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that apple pie oatmeal was the bomb, is all I'm gonna
Okay.
say.
All right.
Loved it.
I may have to try it. Yeah, that's the great thing about our group is everybody's doing things a little bit differently. And so when they bring that to the table, we
Right.
just there's all these ideas and it's so fun.
You know, because you have that apple butter in your book that's so good. It's like that, but on oatmeal.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like.
Yum.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing is like, no matter what kind of person you are in the morning, if you're an oats in the in the morning person, or if you like the savory or so what I do, actually, I'm not a breakfast person. When I first get up, the last thing I want to do is eat a big breakfast. So like it is 12:30 right now and I haven't had anything today. Which is it doesn't bother me. That's just how I roll. So when I get off of this call, I will have a smoothie. That's usually what I have during the day is a superfood smoothie. Sometimes I do have a juice. So yesterday I had a beet juice, homemade beet juice, and then I had some beans for because I had leftover, so I had a mixture of like green beans and different types of beans, and I had a little bit of organic corn in there. So it was a little bit, and so that's what I had. And then I didn't have anything till dinner because I'm more of a 2 meal a person type of day. So 2 meal a day type of person. So
plus a snack, and you do eat a little snack.
Yeah. So everybody, again, there's no one way to do this. And Kathleen says, I had some cream of mushroom soup for breakfast. So
Yay!
that is, yeah, it's amazing. Lori says, where's the recipe for the apple pie oatmeal? It's in the Plant Power Army. So that's part of our group stuff for the people who are in my program. Yeah, I'm just not much of a breakfast person at all. And so you don't have to be, because people sometimes, again, will come into when I have this laid out in my book, it's usually 3 meals a day because most people eat that way. But if you don't, you can still make this work. It's not, if you don't have to force yourself to eat breakfast if that's not you. And the great thing too is like, I will go through phases where like I posted, I think earlier in the week or last week, I posted an amazing, oatmeal recipe that I have. Like, so I went through like 3 years where I loved oatmeal in the morning. And so that's what I ate. And so now I'm just kind of in this different phase where I'm doing more of a 2 meal thing, but I love those oats. And so, and you can, that's in my public page. And I think probably also in the group. So you can, scroll back and see that, but that's a delicious way to start because it's really hearty with a lot of fiber, and it's got berries and nuts and seeds in it. It's just got a ton of great flavors, and so that's another really good one.
And that thing that you made the other day with all the pepitas and the hemp seeds and all that, so I made that and it was like the most amazing thing I've ever eaten in my life. I couldn't believe all the different textures in it. I was like, what is this? I've never had anything like this. So I was like, okay, well, if I don't want to eat it on oats, what can I do? And I had all my sweet potatoes this week. I sliced them I cubed them up and I roasted them instead. So I made that as my base instead of oats. And then I mixed all like the hemp seeds and the chia seeds, and oh my God, it was so good. And I'm like, okay, just invented a new breakfast or a lunch. I actually had that for lunch the other day. So it was really refreshing, and I didn't feel weighed down by like a hot bowl of oatmeal,
Right. Well, and I don't cook my oats. So just so you guys know.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I
soak them a little bit.
Soak them.
That's it. Yeah. I don't like mushiness. It's a texture thing for me. Did you put the berries on the sweet potatoes too, or no?
No, I ate I always have blueberries like all the time from Trader Joe's, these organic ones. And so I just ate those on the side because I wasn't sure how that would go over in the, but I think the sweet potato is kind of like a veggie fruit sort of taste.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And so for those of you who are afraid of carbohydrates, just so you know, you don't have to be, but also sweet potatoes are not potatoes. They're actually in the squash family. So they're not the same as white potato in terms of how they behave in your body. So
yes, and let's just all say a glory hallelujah over that. Thank you.
Yes.
It's a vegetable. It's a vegetable.
That's right. Linda says, I've been on a chia pudding kick with fruit for breakfast. Just chia seed, unsweetened almond milk overnight in the fridge, and in the morning I top it with berries. That's
I like
amazing.
that too.
Yeah,
Get a
that's
lot
good.
of protein, good fat, a ton of fiber. Chia seeds are super high in calcium, and then you have the antioxidants of the berries on top of that. So that's amazing.
Mhm.
So let us move on to lunch. And what do you guys normally do for lunch?
Well, you've turned me on to these smoothies and I've become a smoothie girl. I'm telling you, you can pack some stuff in that.
Yeah.
I always have my 2 fistfuls of spinach and my plant-based milk, and then I switch out the fruit. You've got a great one with the dark cherries in the book, and I love that, with a little bit of almond butter, and you have those seeds in there. I mean, it's just perfect. And then I love that. And then if I have whatever left over from the night before, I'll either have that. I'm a big sweet potato person. I love that with some black beans on it. And I love just a dollop of dairy-free sour cream on that. I love it on my sweet potato with my black beans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a dollop, just a whoop. It's so good. And I like wraps. And I love a big salad full of all kinds of vegetables too. But that's a misconception that vegans and plant-based people just eat salads all the time. We really don't. There is so much variety. I may have a little side salad, but I'm having all kinds of other stuff with it.
That's true. Like I'm in a place right now where I like, you know, especially as with how cold it is in Ohio, where we just don't do a lot of salad right now. And you know, you don't have to. If you're not a salad person, it's totally okay. What about you, Joanne?
Yeah, I don't eat salads hardly ever, except for the massaged kale salad. That's a life-changing experience.
Yeah.
I would eat that every day of my life.
So just so you guys know, I have people who hate kale. I have turned so many people into kale lovers with that massaged kale salad. And also people who hate tofu with my crispy tofu bowl with peanut sauce. Like those 2 things, I'm like, when people tell me, oh no, I can't do kale, I'm like, let me tell you something. And same thing with tofu.
My husband with the kale, he hates the word kale. Like he runs away when I say kale, and he can detect it if I put it. He's like, "Is there kale in this?" He went back for seconds of that salad. He's like, "What is it? Is this kale?" I'm like, "It is kale. How do you like it?"
I know.
He couldn't stop eating it. It was so good.
I know, it is amazing. And and again, so it's so funny in our group. So we have like 185 women in the group. And so like somebody will be like, you need to try the kale salad. And then like for the next month, because it's like making rounds, you'll be like, oh my God, I tried the kale salad. Oh my God, I tried the kale salad. It's so good. And everybody posts a picture. Yeah.
And I never tried it. I've been in this a year and a half, and I had never tried that dang salad. I'm like,
I know.
Yeah, I thought it's just another salad. That's what I thought.
It was got those Granny Smith apples and walnuts and dates in it. Oh my gosh. My husband is like yours, Joanne. He will eat anything, but he really does not want me to tell him what it is.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of decided, well, I won't tell you what it is. And so I know what it is and I know it's good. And the other night he was lapping up those tofu nuggets and I just said, yep, those were chicken nuggets. And he goes, these are good. And I'm like, they are, aren't they? And they're like, they're tofu nuggets, but I didn't tell him.
That's the thing is like, so first it's the same thing with your kids. It's like, just don't even tell them.
Just don't even tell them. It's not worth it. He doesn't care.
Because then, you know, ahead of time, they'll be like, wait, let me see if I can detect any plants in this.
Right.
And like I said, so for me for lunch, I usually do the smoothie and then something small. But actually though, did we skip over, Joanne? What is it that you do?
For lunch? Well, I do a lot of wraps. I also really like those hummus pizzas with the rice tortilla. I brown up a couple of those and I like microgreens. I buy microgreens. We have a local microgreen farm and it runs all year long because it's kind of like an indoor thing. So I can buy local organic microgreens at my regular grocery store. And I kind of just tear them up so they're not as stringy. And I top I make the tortilla in the oven so it's crispy, and then I use it like a flatbread and I just spread hummus and I put microgreens. I dice up red onion. I might throw some hot peppers on there, And my husband eats those too, and he really likes them. So that's a really filling and easy thing that, you know, the only thing you're cooking is cooking your tortilla till it's crispy in the oven, and that doesn't even make a mess. So I do that. I do a lot of wilted greens with beans in it, and I might throw a little half cup of rice in it or whatever. I make everything in one pan or one bowl. That's how I do everything.
And that's, so the hummus pizza recipe is in my book. And that's the great thing, is that you can just kind of mix and match what kind of toppings you want to put on there. And microgreens are amazing, especially if you have a good source. And so something else I tell, like if you're working outside the home, something I have done is I will just do like maybe a half a can of chickpeas with some cut up tomato and cucumber, and usually some either cilantro or parsley, whatever I have on hand. You could even throw some avocado in there if you want. And I put salt and pepper and lemon juice and apple cider vinegar in there. And so then I'll just, you know, take it to wherever I'm going, and it's in like a Tupperware type of container. So I just shake it up when I'm ready. I might even have some, like, if I'm, you know, want some kind of starch with that, I might have some gluten-free, like pita chips on hand. And so, I mean, there's just, you know, and again, with the wraps, that's really, really easy. I put out a lot of simple wrap combinations. You can throw hummus on a wrap and veggies. You can do tempeh. Tempeh, you know, I love to pan fry tempeh. I marinate it and pan fry it. That's like, you can have a wrap in 15 minutes. So there's lots of really quick things that you can do. And also, of course, the sweet potato bowls and, you know, other things that you can make ahead of time and just heat up. So those are really great options. And so, and we will talk about eating out here too in a second. But so the other big question that I get is, you know, dinner, because people are not usually, like, if they're not eating by themselves, they're like, okay, well, I have dinner with my family. I don't want all of us to, you know, be eating something different. And so I have put out a 5 steps to a plant-based family plan. That is really, it gives you a lot of really good, solid information for sort of substitutions you can do at home, and how you can make meals that they're component meals, so that if there are people in your family eating meat, that everybody can eat from the same meal. And then finding really great plant-based recipes that everybody loves, and so that you sometimes are doing those as well. But what do you guys, I know, so for LT, for dinner, I know that you're doing like the meals. And so what is, when you're eating those, what, like, how do you deal with that with your family? Like what, with, you know, what are they eating?
That is what it is presented. Okay. And if you do not want it, go get something else. Because I'm in a station of life where my children, one's away at college and one's senior in high school. But I can tell you that they've liked everything that I had. And even last night, we had Chef John's stuffed grape leaves and the falafel and that quinoa salad. And they ate every bit of it and loved it all. And there's been nothing that they have just said, what is this? And as a matter of fact, my husband was on his little laptop when we were talking the other night, and he said, tell me again of that name of what we just had. And this was the other night. And I said, well, that was the Asian soy curls. And he goes, okay, well, I'm starting a list. And that's going at the top because that's been my favorite that I've had so far. So he's got him a little spreadsheet.
That's hilarious.
He wants me to order again. And so he didn't even ask me what a soy curl was. I just told him it was a soy curl. He had know what that is, but he just know that it tasted good. And that's the bottom line. And we've said it many times. If it tastes good and if it's filling, that's all they want.
It really is. For most,
that's the bottom line.
That is what it is. And it's like, you know, as long as there are, you know, I never, you know, said to John, like, oh, you can't have meat. I just was like, I'm not cooking it, you know, so if you could make, can make your own. I'm like, you know, and so we had different like component meals to start. And then, you know, then it just became, he loved the plant-based food so much that that's all we were eating at home. And then if he was going out, you know, he could get whatever. And then he was like, you know, like, I'm just going to try not doing meat for like 3 months. It was a New Year's resolution thing a few years back. And then he just never went back to it. He was like, I feel great, you know?
Yeah, and my husband, the big thing about him is he can eat, and he can eat a good volume, and he's always been a good size. You know, he's never had a weight problem, but he always wants a little something sweet afterwards. And before, this was him with a bowl of cereal, just pour, and he would do that. But now he asked me this just this week. He said, if I want a little something sweet, what would be good to have? And I said, well, you know what I'm going to make you? I'm going to make you a no-bake oatmeal cookie.
Oh,
and he goes, well, that sounds good because it's in your book. And I said, no, it's not going to be big volume like you're used to. But he had it, and he said, that's all I wanted. And I said, well, we're making progress here.
That's right.
Because that is so much better than what he used to do.
Yeah. Right. And it just hits the spot. And
it hit it. That's all he needed. And then he was done.
Yeah. 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 I mean, then that's the way that most men feel about this stuff, is if it tastes good and it's filling, that's really the main thing. Right. So what do dinners look like for you, Joanne? Because, okay, so Joanne, you have two teenage girls and your husband. So what's everybody eating?
Well, in the beginning, it was a disaster because I was still making two separate things.
Oh.
And now we have sort of evolved now that we're all home together, and I'm in the kitchen a lot more because the kids are home from school all the time. And so instead of doing like packing a lunch and sending them on their way, I'm in the kitchen cooking lunch. So the least amount I can be in the kitchen, the better. And so like on days when I'm busy, I will pack them a lunch. So like right now they went downstairs, got their lunch boxes, and they're eating in their rooms. But for dinner, I like everybody to come together, and we have been doing a lot of the sort of buffet sort of meals where I just set all the components up on the island and everybody makes what they want. We do a lot of Asian bowls. We do because that's what they like. And they can all agree on rice and they can all agree on edamame. Yeah. And so I figure I got their grains, I got their proteins, I got to get a veggie in them. So I will roast peppers. One of my daughters really likes peppers, like fajita. I'll make a big thing of like fajita veggies, but I won't season them. So those can work in Asian bowls. They can work in fajita bowls. They can work in all sorts of things. So we make a lot of bowls, a lot of meals that end up being like a Buddha bowl type thing. And one of the things that I found that really helped doing that is I bought like fancy little bowls that everybody, so like, for them, it's all about, they're going to be 16. It's all about the aesthetic. And if they can look cool doing it, if they can Instagram their meal, they're going to eat it.
Oh my
God. So I went to the Asian store and I got these cute little bowls, and they have like they say hello on them. And then I got some real bamboo chopsticks that we can reuse. They're like legit from I think they're from San Francisco.
I was going to say, are they from like Peru or?
Yeah, no, they're like from, a legit place in San Francisco. And so like I put that stuff out, and then it makes it more like, oh, we're really doing this. Like we're doing something fun. We're doing something cool. And if all they eat is the rice and edamame, I don't stress out over it anymore. Like I used to really stress out over it. But if that's all they're going to eat, that's a step in the right direction, because edamame is green. And if they put something green in their body, it's really all I care about right now. So, they're more open. The other night they did try the tofu. Well, one of them tried the tofu, and she's like, the conversation has changed. She actually said, what happens if I don't love it? I said, you tried it. That's all I care about. If you tried it, I don't care if you don't love it. I'm not going to force you to eat it. And like that's where we're at now. So I'm not cooking meat. I'm not making two separate meals. I'm making one meal. If you don't like it, go toast a bagel or go eat, like you said, the Annie's frozen meals or Amy's frozen meals, or whatever they are.
Yeah. Yep.
I do keep a few of those. If they want that, they can have that, or, whatever.
Sweet Earth and Amy's are two really good ones. And as someone with a teenage son, I'm the same way. I'm just like, I know there's certain things that he likes, and then there's some things that it's like, I just want you to try it. Just try it and just see. And then if he doesn't like it, that's okay. Then we have other options. I keep, he likes to sometimes have scrambled eggs, or, we keep the, usually what he'll do is, he might have one of those Amy's meals or something, but then I will throw him together like a little veggie plate or a salad,
Mhm.
because he
Yeah.
does really like salad. And so he'll eat that. You know, of course, he's ridiculously picky about what's on the salad. You know, these teenagers, I swear to God.
No.
But you know, just killing me all the time. But there's definitely, again, so the other thing is, if you have little kids, something that I always promote is the bento boxes, because kids love to graze. Bento boxes have little compartments. It's like a lunchbox, but it has little compartments, and so you just put a little bit of each thing in each compartment. Kids love it. So if you look up vegan bento box on like Pinterest, or you know, kids ideas for that too. I mean, you'll come up with so many things, and they sell bento boxes online, and even you can get them at Target. So those are also super fun.
And when my kids were little, I used, because mealtime with toddlers and mealtime with like 4 and 5-year-olds, they don't sit down and eat. Like they'll just find every excuse. And so the grazing thing was a big deal for them. I didn't even have to buy a bento box. I used an ice cube tray.
Yeah.
And I just put little, you know, like a couple of dried craisins in here, a couple little pretzels in here, a couple of whatever cheese cubes or whatever in the little compartments. And if you put 2 of everything in there, a couple of diced apples, they're like, oh, there's only 2, I better eat them, you know, and they each got their own little ice cube tray. It was easy.
Yeah. So we encourage playing mind games with your kids, because
Mm-hmm.
any way you can get them to eat.
Really?
Really, that's the way Tucker was too. He was such a picky kid, and not all kids are like that. Thank God my girls were not so much like that, but Tucker, oh Lord. So, so definitely though, no matter, you know, what kind of kids you have, that there's ways to do this. I have clients who their kids are actually loving this, and they're getting in on it and helping cook meals, and actually adapting this into their lives. And so everybody's different. And so, you know, there's again, there's so many ways that you can do this. Peggy says, how do you cook the edamame? I love edamame hummus, but I can't find it anymore. I've seen edamame hummus at Giant Eagle. So I don't know if that's an option for you, Peggy, but how do you cook the edamame, Joanne?
I get edamame from Fresh Time, and it comes in the frozen section. And I buy 2 types. I buy the ones that are in the pods, and then I buy the ones that are already out of the pods if we want to add them to bowls. And literally all I do is I put them in a giant serving bowl. I have a Corelle bowl, and I dump the whole frozen bag in there. I put a few tablespoons of water, put a plate on top, pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and it steams. And then I just leave the lid on until everybody comes down for dinner, and pop the lid off. They're hot, they're ready. That's it.
That's
2 minutes.
awesome. Easy.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that's another, you know, when you're trying to get like, that's something I always tell people with like your greens. So with things like kale, like I will chop it really fine and, you know, put it on top of something that I have made in a saute pan, and put the lid on there. And in 3 minutes, it's done. You don't even have to stir it up. Like, there's just so many different things that you can do. And it's all easy. It's all super easy stuff. Anne says, my oldest daughter has a bento box, and they were on Amazon deal of the day. So there you go. Be looking for that. And I got my twins each one. So she has younger twins. And so, so yeah, I mean, they're fun. And so we have Valentine's Day coming up. So if you would like to get someone a gift, maybe it's a cool little bento box.
Yeah.
So what do you guys have for snacks? Because some people are snackish. So tell me.
Snacks used to be my downfall. That used to be my problem. I used to snack myself out of ways of proper meals back when I was the old LT. So, and something about that witching hour of 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I was like, oh my gosh. So I just know that time is coming, and I'm prepared for it. Now, Joanne is going to buy things in bulk, and she's going to buy a big thing. And I like the small containers that are already in the little self-serving, and it's paying more for it, but I like that it's already done. So I'm going to buy those little hummus cups. I love that, with some gluten-free pretzels or a gluten-free pita chip. I love this acai if that's how
Yeah.
you pronounce it, ACAI. I'm finding
Yeah.
it in the frozen section of the healthy section of Walmart. And that's all it is. It's the fruit whipped together and frozen. You pop that in the microwave for about 15 seconds and it just is like a treat. It
Yeah.
is like you're eating a frozen yogurt is what it reminds me of, really.
Yeah.
So I love those. I love anything that's fresh, like if it's going to be a little bit of a blueberry, a strawberry mixture, and maybe putting a little agave. Sometimes when I just want something sweet now, if I feel like I've got to have something sweet, I will just put just a tiny bit of honey on a teaspoon, and that's all. And that just, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't keep on looking. And one thing about snacks is I'm just making sure, because I know that was my witching hour. I'm making sure that I'm engaged in this another activity and doing something busy, because I just need my little something and then I'm on. I'm not
Right.
standing at the fridge. I'm not standing in the pantry going, what about? I'm just not doing that anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we need to have positive coping mechanisms if we're stressed or if we're bored. And so, a lot of people, they just equate certain times a day with some evil snacks, or if you're sitting in front of, it's like Netflix and your ice cream or whatever the thing is.
Yes.
It's like we have to disrupt those patterns. I even had a client years ago who, her whole thing was she would eat snacks. She had this setup in front of the TV where she had this chair and it had like this little side table, and she would be on her computer watching TV, just kind of scrolling, watching TV, and then also having her snack. And she did this every single night. It was a ritual. And so no way that we were trying to get her to get out of that was going to work. And I was like, all right, what if you just didn't sit there? So what she did was she moved the side table completely out of the room and the chair, and she started sitting on the couch, and there was nowhere to put
Yeah. Oops, she's frozen.
her snacks.
The
kitchen and sit down and eat it.
Yeah.
And so she just stopped doing it.
Right. And one thing
sometimes it is
is
disrupting your pattern.
It is. And one thing I've noticed for sure is I am so well hydrated now. And I am just drinking so much water, and I really don't crave the snacks as much anymore, because I really wasn't drinking water before. I would drink water when I exercised only, but I wasn't having it with meals or in between. I would just have my drink when I exercised. Now I drink it all day long, and the Diet Coke's gone and all of that. So I just feel like I don't even need snacks as much. And when I do, it's just a little something.
Yeah.
See, that smoothie I had for lunch has already filled me up.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, sometimes when you are, when you think you're hungry or feeling snackish, you're thirsty.
You're thirsty.
And so it's really also about tuning into your body. Linda says, Lori's eggplant hummus with sliced bell peppers is an amazing snack. Yeah, that's yummy stuff. That's in my book. The Power of Habit, Diane says, is a great book on how to stop the pattern. So that's a great resource. All right. So what about you, Joanne? Do you snack? And if so, what do you snack on?
So what I used to snack on was popcorn all the time, and it became a really bad habit last summer. And it was the same thing. Like, we were hooked on this show on the History Channel, and it was like I would hear the theme song of that show, and it would go popcorn, popcorn.
So it's like Pavlov's dogs.
It literally was. It was like I would tell myself going into the living room, like, okay, I'm not going to eat that popcorn tonight. And no matter what, it's like I would get like 15 minutes in, and they would break, and then they would come back, and that theme song would come on, and I'm like, I got to go get the popcorn. So one of the things I started doing with that, because that was really the only time I got super snacky, and I don't even think I was hungry. I think it was just a weird trigger thing. So I started switching that out with celery, and I get the, like LT said, I buy things in bulk, and I go to Costco, and I get the giant bags of organic celery that are already cut and washed, but I wash them a little more, and I cut them in thirds because they're a full celery stock. So I cut them in thirds, and I keep them in a giant Ziploc bag. And I bring, if we're going to watch a show, the show's over, so we don't do that anymore. But if I need a snack, or if I'm working in my office or doing something, and I just get a little bit like I need to crunch something, I'll just go get that bag of celery, because I mean, I can't really do any damage with a bag of celery. So, or blueberries. Like, I really like to snack on blueberries. I probably eat a cup of blueberries every day. So
that's so good for you.
Yeah, and they're really, I don't know if it's blueberry season or where they're coming from, but Trader Joe's has these organic blueberries that are amazing right now.
Nice.
And everybody, almost everybody in the family loves them. So I
Yeah.
do that. One of the snacks that I do like to have, because I'm more of a salty snack than a sweet snack, I really like sauerkraut. And so I will just I'll put a little bit of hummus on top of, like maybe a tablespoon or two of hummus on top of sauerkraut with a bunch of cracked black pepper. And I have these little cups or little bowls from Pampered Chef, and they have measurements on the side. They're like little prep bowls. And I can see that I'm getting like a cup or a half a cup or whatever. And that'll be my snack, just hummus or just sauerkraut with hummus on it. So
Oh, wow. So yeah, sauerkraut, anything that's naturally fermented is actually really good for you. So tempeh is in that category, which doesn't taste fermented, but it is. And things like sauerkraut, kimchi, those are amazing for you because they have natural probiotics in them. I like to do, I'm the kind of the same, like I'm not a huge snacker because that was a problem for me in the past, was to just be grazing all the time. And so I try not to put myself in that position, but I do love kale chips. I have a recipe in my book that's super quick and it's really savory and tangy because my thing used to be like salt and vinegar potato chips. So those really
me too.
amazing. And you can eat a bazillion of them.
Yeah.
And then I also like hummus with a little bit of either gluten-free, pita chips or maybe some carrots. I love, if I'm feeling super snackish, I might have, or, just like actual hunger. I might have a rice cake and I will put all natural peanut butter on it and then raspberries. I love that. So yeah, just really simple stuff where it's just, that you can grab, again, you don't have to spend your day in the kitchen. And this is all just really stuff that's easy and grab and go. So lastly, I just wanted to talk about going out to eat, because that's something, again, people are like, why, what do you do when you go out to eat? And they're at a loss. So I know, just quickly, Anna's saying, do I do kombucha? And I actually have kombucha several times a week. And you can have, kombucha is got, those good probiotics in it. So if it's your thing, you can have it. I know women who have it daily. I have it several times a week. I can't drink a whole thing of kombucha myself. It's too much for me. So I do half. And we bought these little, I think they're actually made for beer, but they're like little rubber things that you put on top to keep it, because the kombucha that I buy has a metal top to it. And so anyway, I put that on there to keep it fizzy so I can drink it the next day. But yeah, that's totally fine. So what do you guys do? I know people aren't eating out as much as they used to, but when you do go out, what do you do?
I order on the sides menu mainly, and there's always some kind of a steamed or roasted vegetable. Normally, there's normally a potato. I'll get the sweet potato if there's that. There's normally a side salad. I'm always getting the water. I don't ask for crackers or bread to be put on the table because I just don't ask for it. And if Tim wants it, he's going to keep it over there on his side. And I go to restaurants ahead of time where I know where I'm going. I'm never caught off guard. I'm never shocked. I'm never surprised. I'm looking at online menus because they're very accessible. Normally I'm picking the place, and I do what you do when we go to a Mexican restaurant. I'm ordering now all that fajita stuff without all the stuff. And it's just, the fajita type vegetables. And that is plenty filling. And I normally have a to-go plate to come home with me.
Oh yeah, I do that. Yeah. So I do the fajita veggies. I do the vegetarian fajitas with no oil.
Right.
And then I do so it comes with rice and beans, and I just don't do any cheese or sour cream with that. I do extra guacamole. And then they usually do, like, we will have either, if we do have chips, which we both like chips, we only do one basket.
That's
and
right.
I'll either do that or the corn tortillas. If I'm doing chips, I don't do the corn tortillas. And then we go out usually, this time of year, John is, the club is closed for January and February. So we might go out to eat once a week, but so normally though, it's once a month or maybe twice a month at most, but I will have a margarita.
Right.
So that's what I do. And then you can do Asian, you can do, so I posted something the other day where I did vegetarian sushi and an Asian vegetable soup and a seaweed salad from a place here local. We can go to Chipotle. And they have obviously tons of options there. Not hearing great things about the cauliflower rice, in case anybody's wondering about that. It's kind of across the board. People are like, I don't know if maybe some of you guys have had it and disagree. Diane says Mediterranean, there's tons of options. That's right. So
There
like,
is, yeah.
like Aladdin's or somewhere, it's like there's, so what about you, Joanne? I know you guys have gone out to eat a few times, not a ton of times.
Yeah, well, we kind of have been more just to get out of the house, to take the kids out and get everybody driving around. But yeah, we do. I feel like the more ethnic you go, the better choices you have, because, a lot of things are a la carte. So we like to do a lot of sushi, and, I'll get the miso soup and I'll order edamame with that. Almost all the sushi places now have a non-fish. Like the place we go has an avocado sushi. They have a sweet potato sushi. They just have so many different types now. So, and everybody in my house agrees on that. So we do that. I like falafel. So I like to get Mediterranean food. And there's a lot of plant-based choices. You can get the hummus, you can get the tabbouleh, you can get, you can just get so many things at these places. Even the pierogi place that we like to go to has gluten-free and vegan options now.
I know.
And it's amazing. So like everybody in my house can eat at the same restaurant. And even just some of the random chains that we have around here, because we kind of live in a corridor where it's like all the chain restaurants, and then you have to kind of go farther out to get the good stuff. But even the chain stuff, on the not the sides menu, but on the appetizer menu, a lot of places now will have like a hummus plate where it's just like a bunch of chopped veggies and different kinds of hummus. So sometimes I'll get that for my meal.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, and also what LT said is like, you could go to a steakhouse and make a great meal out of their side dishes.
Yeah.
I mean, and also there are so many vegan restaurants now. So if you have not tried this, do not be afraid to go to a vegan restaurant, because you guys, vegans are foodies. They love food. They love flavor. They love texture, just like everybody else. And I think you will be shocked at some of the really delicious stuff that you can get from a vegan restaurant as well. So it's just, there's so many options now. And again, I think it's really key what LT said about looking ahead of time at the menu and not being afraid to suggest something else. So like the only place that I feel like I really can't get anything healthy, or which is true for everybody if you're trying to be healthy, but definitely not anything vegan, is like a pub. That's where it's probably the hardest if you're going for bar food. And even then you could get the fried pickles, right?
Yeah.
But so there every once in a while, or like City Barbecue, we have a barbecue place around here. They put meat in the vegetables. Like you cannot get away from it. Like I'm pretty sure there is meat, in their desserts. So like you just, but so if somebody wants to go to some place like that, then I might suggest a different place where I know they could get barbecue, but I could also get something. And so don't be afraid to throw some options out there to people, rather than eat something you don't want to eat or not eat. There's too many options for that now.
And last weekend, my son was the best man in his friend's wedding, and they had a lovely reception, and I got everything that I needed and wanted. I am just choosing different. They had lots of options, and I didn't have to have every option that they had, but I had enough for what I wanted on my plate, and I was fine. And you know what? I felt good. I wasn't sick. My outfit fit. I'm still losing weight.
You're going to have to post in the comments how you look. So you guys, LT has lost 70 pounds and she looks amazing, but she sent me a picture that night of her outfit, and you did look incredible. So
It was amazing. I was shocked.
It
I
was
was like,
fun.
"Ooh,
Yeah.
LT, look at
I
you."
know.
I know it. I did hear an LT that night. LT. I got one of those again. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really, yeah, and that's
It
the great
was.
thing. You go and you have
But
fun and you have good food, but you're also, you can get
that's
out
what
and
I'm
dance.
saying.
And,
They
yeah,
had a fabulous fruit display. Oh
yeah,
my gosh. So even when things like that, you can find little things to do. Just because it's presented to you does not mean you have to have everything. You
right.
can have just enough of what you want, you know?
That's great. And so Gina says, I like making different bowls like Joanne. There's lots of options. Right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I just want to wrap it up by saying just that there's just no reason not to do this. The food is delicious. It's easy to make no matter what kind of person you are. We all do it differently. We all make it work. We have lots of different people in the program who are doing it different ways. And that's the other great thing is you can learn from other people and pick and choose what works for you. And so don't be afraid for any reason to, don't think that you can't make this work because you absolutely can, and you won't feel deprived. That's the thing is like, none of us is feeling like, I gotta have another salad or let me just sip on this wheatgrass. Like,
No.
Nope.
It's all delicious stuff. So make sure that you comment below if you're watching in this either now or on the replay. We always come back and look at the comments. I'm going to encourage LT to post her picture in the comments because it was an amazing picture. But yeah, you can, not only is this an easy way to live, but feeling healthy makes everything better. Everything in your life.
Everything.
It really does. It really, because then you're about the experience, like being able to go to something like a wedding or whatever is going on and being there, not just for the food, but for the experience. That's what you're going to really.
It was. And I was out on the dance floor with all those young people and having the time of my life. And I wouldn't have done that before.
Right. That's the key, is you're showing up differently when it's not just about these foods, because you're eating delicious stuff, but you're not addicted to the stuff that's making you sick.
That's right.
So that's living. That's living. So thank you so much for joining us for episode 16. And we appreciate you so much tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Okay.
Great.
Bye.
I know.